What if I told you the reason she's acting like she doesn't care is because she knows you still do? What if I told you she only starts thinking about you the moment you stop thinking about her? And what if I told you this entire game you've been losing wasn't because you weren't enough, but because you made her everything? She's not cold by accident, she's calculated. And the moment you realize your worth isn't something you prove, but something you own, everything changes. Comment, I reclaim my worth. Below if you're ready to flip the power back into your hands. You've been lied to, repeatedly. They told you she'll appreciate your efforts. They told you the more you care, the more she'll love you. They told you vulnerability would make her stay. But here you are, broken, ghosted, watching her move on like you never existed. Every man listening to this knows the feeling. You pour everything into her, attention, time, energy, and she just walks. She blocks your number and unblocks it when she's bored. She posts cryptic stories just to see if you still look. She wants your energy, not your love. And you keep giving it. This is where it ends. Today, you're not just hearing truths. You're going to learn how to live them. Number 1, she craves what ignores her. She doesn't fall for the man who gives her everything. She collapses emotionally for the one who gives her nothing she hasn't earned. And that's the truth most men don't want to accept. The more you give without demand, the more invisible you become. You give her roses, she rolls her eyes. You send long texts, she shares them with her friends. You rearrange your life for her, and she forgets your name in group chats. But when you pull back, not to play a game, but because you finally recognize that the throne belongs to the man who sits, not the man who kneels, she unravels. She checks your profile not to see if you're okay, but to see if her absence left a hole. And when she finds none, when she sees no digital breadcrumb, no passive reach out, no emotional leakage, that's when her ego short-circuits. Because she craves mystery, not loyalty. She craves doubt, not devotion. And that's the wound she won't admit exists. Her DNA isn't wired for gratitude. It's wired for chase, for conquest, for wondering if she can still break you. And every time you make yourself easy, you make yourself disposable. You'll notice it. The more consistent you are, the more she delays replies. The more loving you are, the more she withholds affection. The more available you are, the more she acts like you're irrelevant. Why? Because in her world, value is measured in unpredictability. The man who doesn't text back for hours is seen as powerful. The man who says no without guilt is perceived as high value. The man who disappears for a weekend without explanation becomes the obsession she can't shake. This is the paradox. She doesn't want you to love her more than she loves herself. She wants to earn it, to feel like she fought for a man who doesn't hand out his time like flyers on a street corner. So when you act like she doesn't matter, not with cruelty, but with focus on your life, your mission, your inner peace, she starts running back not because she loves you, but because she can't stand not being the center of your orbit. And that's the test. The moment you stop orbiting her world and start building your own, she realizes she was never the sun. You were. So stop burning for someone who thrives in your shadow. Build your kingdom, not for her, but for yourself. And let her watch from outside the gates she burned trying to control. And if you're ready to stop bleeding for people who treat your love like a game, then the Stoic relationship blueprint is your next step. This isn't just an ebook. It's a weapon, a guide forged in truth, pain, and clarity. It was written for you, the man who's done being used, who's ready to reclaim his identity, rebuild his confidence, and never fall into the same trap again. The blueprint doesn't expire. It's yours forever. Every principle, every insight, every truth, it lives with you permanently. You can revisit it on your darkest days and rise again with clarity. Don't ask if you need it. Ask yourself if you can afford to keep living without it. Number 2. Attention feeds her ego. Her addiction was never to your heart. It was always to your attention. She doesn't replay your loving voice notes to remember your warmth. She replays them to feel powerful. She doesn't post pictures to share her life. She posts to see if you're still watching. You think you're being kind, thoughtful, emotionally open. She thinks you're still hers. Every emoji you send, every just checking in message, every delayed like on her photo is a deposit into the bank of her ego. You are not a memory. You are her backup plan. And she'll keep you there, emotionally leashed, as long as you feed her. She doesn't need to respond. She just needs to know she still has access. That with a single story post or a fake accidental text, she can reel you back in like a fish that never learned to cut the line. And you stay hooked, because deep down, you've been convinced that kindness wins. It doesn't. Not with someone who sees kindness as currency to manipulate. She's not interested in your apologies or explanations. She's addicted to the idea that she still lives rent-free in your focus. And the only eviction notice you can serve is detachment, not in word, but in action. That means you stop liking her photos, you stop replying to bait, you stop showing up as the emotional janitor every time she trashes your dignity and expects you to clean it up with compliments. Because as long as she knows she still matters to you, she has no reason to reconsider how she treated you. And that's why most men never escape this loop. They feed what they should be starving, starve her ego, and feed your mission, your fitness, your finances, your freedom. The moment she sees her control slipping, she'll attempt to regain it. She'll test you with passive texts, accidental run-ins, or sudden affection. Don't fall. That's not love returning. It's her ego panicking. And you were not put here to validate her comfort. You were built to build. Let her starve. Let her wonder. Let her sit with the question she never expected to ask. Why isn't he chasing me anymore? Because that's the only moment truth hits her. That's the only time she begins to feel what you've been feeling all along. Emptiness. And when she feels it, only then can you finally be free. Number 3. Silence shakes her control. She doesn't panic when you argue. She panics when you stop explaining. Because it's not your voice she needs, it's your reactions. Every ignored call, every unread message, every vanished presence doesn't just confuse her. It rattles her foundation. Because she was counting on your weakness. She thought if she pulled away, you'd chase. She thought if she got cold, you'd shiver. She thought if she withheld affection, you'd come begging for scraps. But when none of that worked, when your world stayed intact without her fingerprints all over it, she started spiraling, not out of heartbreak, but out of control. She wasn't expecting stillness. She was expecting the usual panic. She was expecting the 3 a.m. confessions, the long, "can we talk?" texts, the emotional pleadings for another chance. And when all she got was the absence of effort, she was forced to sit with the one thing she never planned for, your independence. And that's the pain she never tells her friends about. The ache that comes not from your words, but from your disappearance from her story. When she refreshes her feed and doesn't see your name. When she goes through her messages and your thread is frozen in time. When she flirts with others and it doesn't seem to pull you back. That's when doubt turns into regret, and regret turns into obsession. Because you've interrupted her cycle. She wanted control, and you gave her consequences. She wanted to punish you with absence, and you met her absence with peace. And suddenly, everything she knew about emotional power collapsed. She's not worried about losing you. She's terrified of never being able to reach you again. That's why she comes back. Not because of love, but because her influence has expired. Because when you walked away and didn't leave a door cracked open, she lost the grip she thought she'd always have. That's the real devastation. She's not mourning the relationship. She's mourning the loss of a leash she thought would always tighten around your neck. And now, every time she hears your name, every time she scrolls past a picture of you, every time someone mentions you've been doing great, she doesn't smile. She burns, not from desire, but from defeat, because she tried to manipulate a man who finally stopped responding to being pulled like a puppet. And now she sits with the fact that she didn't just lose a man, she lost a man she could never control again. Number 4. Emotionally unavailable wins. The man who doesn't fold is the man she cannot forget. He's the one who stood calmly in the chaos she created and didn't flinch. The one who didn't argue back when she threw her tantrums. The one who didn't beg when she withdrew. The one who simply walked, with his head high and his peace untouched. And that's the man who stays etched in her memory, not because he gave her everything, but because he didn't give her the satisfaction of breaking him. You see, emotional control isn't apathy, it's power. It's not that he doesn't feel, it's that he's trained himself to choose action over impulse, and that terrifies her. Because the moment she sees a man who doesn't react to her games, she realizes she has no playbook left, no buttons to push, no strings to pull. Her tactics don't work, her patterns fail, and suddenly she's face to face with the one thing she can't manipulate. A man who leads himself. That man becomes an obsession, not because he tried to be, but because his stability is addictive. In a world where most men are emotionally reckless, he's the outlier. He doesn't fight for love that devalues him. He doesn't chase what disrespects him. He doesn't lose himself trying to win someone who never planned to stay. He simply exists on his own terms. And when she walks away expecting a reaction, all she hears is the echo of her own footsteps. No pursuit, no follow-up, no dramatic goodbye. Just absence. And that absence becomes her punishment, not because he intended to hurt her, but because she never expected to lose access to a man who finally learned how to value himself. This is what emotional discipline looks like. Not shouting, not arguing, not proving, just walking away when respect disappears. Just prioritizing growth over validation. Just being so focused on your evolution that you no longer even notice her attempts to reel you back in. And she will try. She'll test you. She'll send subtle signals. She'll use nostalgia as bait, but you won't bite. Because you've graduated from needing her to noticing she was never good for your future. That's the power she never expected you to unlock. That's the reason she looks back in silence and wonders how she lost the man who stopped needing her reaction to define his direction. Number 5. Your value is in detachment. She doesn't fall apart when you give up. She falls apart when you finally let go without making a scene, without giving her a final speech, without needing closure or validation. That's when it hits her. That's when she realizes the weight of what she lost, not because you screamed, cried, or chased, but because you didn't. True strength isn't shown in how hard you fight for someone. It's revealed in how easily you can walk away when your self-respect is on the line. You gave her all of you, your time, your presence, your trust, and she handled it like it was disposable. She mistook kindness for weakness. She saw consistency as desperation. She thought your vulnerability was a weakness to exploit. But the day you stopped texting back, the day you stopped showing up emotionally, the day you decided to redirect all that energy back into yourself, is the day you became valuable in a way she couldn't ignore. Because now, she's left wondering why the man who used to hang on every word doesn't even seem to remember her voice. Why the man who used to wait on replies doesn't check his phone. Why the man who used to overthink every detail now moves like she never existed. And that shift, that detachment, is what makes you unforgettable. Because when she looks around, she doesn't see you reacting. She sees you rising. And no woman forgets the man who outgrew her indifference. You're not better because she's gone. You're better because you finally stopped needing her. That's the difference. You stopped proving your worth to someone who never saw it. You started building without seeking applause. You trained. You learned. You got sharper. You made yourself into the kind of man she used to dream about, and now she watches from a distance, knowing she had it, and let it rot in her hands. That pain, that's hers to carry. You've detached not because you don't care, but because you learned to care more about you. That's where your value is. Not in chasing, not in convincing, but in walking away with your dignity and building a life so fulfilling that her name doesn't echo in your progress. That's how men win. Not with revenge, but with resurrection. Number 6. Walking away creates doubt. You don't become powerful by staying. You become powerful by leaving, without an explanation, without hesitation, and without looking back. Because the moment you walk away is the moment everything shifts. Not because you played a role, not because you acted strong, but because your decision was final. She doesn't question your worth when you're constantly available. She questions it the second you vanish without a word, without resentment, and without turning back. She thought she had time. She thought you'd always be one message away. She thought no matter how cold she got, how inconsistent she became, how much she took you for granted, you'd still show up. Because that's what you always did. Until one day, you didn't. And that's when her world cracked. That's when her confidence started to bleed. Because women like her don't believe they'll ever lose the man they don't respect. They expect him to stay, to endure, to beg for even a sliver of attention. But when he doesn't, when he removes himself without drama, without emotional outbursts, when he simply disappears into his own life, that's when regret sets in like a disease. She scrolls through your messages looking for a clue. She checks your profile hoping for a signal. She listens to old voicemails wondering how she misread your capacity to vanish. Because now, the silence she once used to punish you has become her prison. Every unanswered call is a mirror. Every missed opportunity is a scar. And every new version of you that she hears about through mutual friends or sees glowing from afar reminds her that she didn't lose a man. She lost a movement. A man who leveled up because she underestimated him. A man who turned heartbreak into focus. A man who made peace look like power. And that doubt, that haunting what if, will trail her for years. You were never the backup. You were never the fallback. You were the one she thought would never leave. And the day you did, she learned the cruelest truth of all. Real men don't return once they realize they were giving love to someone who didn't know what it was worth. Number 7. Your peace is her trigger. She doesn't unravel when you argue. She unravels when you stop being affected. The moment she realizes you're no longer reacting, no longer searching, no longer trying to prove yourself, is the moment her world starts to collapse in quiet confusion and private agony. You were never supposed to be okay without her. You were supposed to linger, to wait, to check, to show up. But when you don't, when you start building something bigger than the relationship she thought defined you, she starts to realize the truth she tried to ignore. She was never your source of strength, and your identity was never hers to destroy. Now she sees a man who doesn't post to impress her, who doesn't reply to provoke her, who doesn't beg to explain himself, and it bothers her. Not because she still wants you, but because you've made peace look powerful, and she never imagined she'd lose control over someone who once gave her everything. That calm confidence, the kind where you're doing more, saying less, creating results instead of reactions, it eats at her. Because you don't need to tell the world you've changed. Your actions scream it. You're waking up earlier, training harder, laughing louder, not to prove anything to her, but because your soul is finally free from the trap of constant validation. And that's what haunts her. Not that you're gone, but that you're thriving without her chaos to fuel your growth. She thought she was your reason. She thought she was your edge. But now she realizes she was the weight. And with her gone, you're moving faster, higher, and further than she ever expected. That clarity, that freedom, that discipline, it's what makes her look twice. It's what makes her wonder. It's what makes her text, "Hey," after months of silence, hoping your peace hasn't healed you too much to respond. But you won't. Not because you're petty, but because you're done being available to someone who only valued you when you were broken. Your peace is the proof that you've outgrown the role she cast you in, and now she watches from the sidelines, knowing she'll never be part of the sequel, because the man you've become doesn't go backwards. Number 8. Master yourself, not her. She was never the finish line. She was the lesson. The goal was never to win her back. It was to become so grounded, so clear in your purpose, so complete in your identity, that her absence doesn't even register as a loss anymore. You've spent too long trying to decode her patterns, interpret her silence, figure out what you did wrong. But the real question was never about her. It was always about you. Why were you so willing to shrink yourself to fit inside someone else's inconsistency? Why did you measure your value by how often she smiled back, or how quickly she replied? That's where you lost yourself, not when she walked, but when you let her become the mirror you used to define your worth. But not anymore. Now you look inward. You write down your goals, not your regrets. You schedule your workouts, not your check-ins. You invest in your vision, not her validation. That shift, from chasing her to chasing mastery, is what builds a man who cannot be shaken. You're not just going to the gym for looks. You're training because every rep is a promise to yourself that you will never be weak for anyone's approval again. You're not just journaling to vent. You're writing your future into existence, page by page, plan by plan. You're no longer trying to be the man she wanted. You're becoming the man you needed back when you were broken. And the world notices. The energy shifts. People respect what's rare. A man who doesn't beg. A man who doesn't fold. A man who is so focused on his own evolution that anyone who can't match his frequency fades into the background. That's your power now. You're not trying to control her anymore. You've mastered you. And when a man masters himself, he doesn't need permission to be great. He doesn't need attention to feel worthy. He doesn't need love to feel whole. Because everything he was looking for in her, he found in the mirror. Not the mirror she gave him, but the one he built for himself, with blood, sweat, and unshakable commitment. And that man doesn't just win the relationship, he wins life. Because he finally stopped chasing things outside himself and started becoming everything no one ever told him he could be. Number 9. This is your awakening. You've been told to chase, to compromise, to be nice, to wait it out, to prove yourself to people who only ever saw your love as leverage. You were taught that your value comes from what you can give to others, not what you demand for yourself. But look where that got you. Lost, drained, overlooked. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you gave the best parts of yourself to someone who was never built to handle them. That ends now. This moment, this breath, this fire building inside you, this is your awakening. The version of you that begged, that doubted, that chased, he's done. Buried. In his place rises a man who no longer asks permission to lead his own life. A man who no longer waits to be chosen. A man who creates, builds, walks with purpose, and makes decisions with clarity. This is no longer about her. It's about you. It's about reclaiming your dignity, your time, your focus. You don't need to convince her. You don't need to win her back. You need to win yourself back. And you do that by mastering your mornings, by lifting when your body says sleep, by building when your mind says quit, by writing, thinking, reading, grinding, so that 6 months from now she wouldn't even recognize the man she once thought she could play. This is not a chapter. It's a resurrection. You're not healing to be softer. You're rebuilding to be stronger, wiser, sharper. And you'll look back at this version of you, the one who cried over lost love, and you'll thank him, because he broke just enough to finally wake up. If you're still here, it's because something inside you finally snapped. You're tired of giving your soul to women who see you as a safety net, not a priority. You're tired of begging, explaining, proving, only to be discarded the moment you stop entertaining her ego. And now you feel it, that pull inside your chest, the voice saying enough. That's not just pain, that's power. That's your edge being reborn. So if you're done living in confusion, if you're done wasting time chasing women who wouldn't lift a finger for your loyalty, then you need the Stoic Relationship Blueprint. It's not just a book, it's your survival guide. Just brutal truth, psychological mastery, and step-by-step tools to reclaim your identity, your peace, your life. You'll never chase again. It's linked in the comments, but it won't stay available for long. So if you're ready to be done with the cycle, comment the Stoic Blueprint below, like the video, and subscribe, because every click helps another man wake up and escape years of confusion, rejection, and regret. This is your moment. Don't let it pass.